Sings Impeachable.
Put on Impeachable right
Who
here.
said that? Welcome to the next episode of Meeting Halfway. It is currently
The current episode.
Yeah, it's 12 a.m. right now on July 21st.
21.
And so the Fairly OddParents ranking video comes out tomorrow, and I just there today finished watching the series with Veronica. When did we start watching? When would you say?
What? Fairly OddParents?
Yeah.
Let's see. We definitely started like a month ago.
It was definitely like start of June is when I started
No.
making sure.
A month?
A month and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
A month?
Yeah, it's always the way where it goes where I give myself like 6 months between each of them. So it's like, it's 2 a year, you know?
You know what it is? Is ever since we came back from the road trip, time has been like going so fast.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's crazy to think that was like 2 months ago.
I know.
You know?
Yeah. And the way all these ranked videos go is that I start them and I'm like, I have like 6 months to make this. I'll start when there's like 3 months left. And then 3 months comes and I'll watch like 2 episodes of the show, and then a month will have gone by and I'll have put it off. So I'm like, fuck, I only have 2 months. So then I'll watch a little bit more, but I'll keep getting distracted because I'm like, it's still like 2 months away. I can do it if I watch 20 episodes every day for 3 weeks straight. So that means I don't have to watch any until it's 3 weeks from then, you know, so just
like
getting it over with.
The first time you came to California, you were doing the Family Guy ranking.
Yeah.
And then I went to Ireland, and then you had to do the SpongeBob ranking.
Yeah,
and then
SpongeBob.
You came back and had to do.
We moved in I did the South Park
you
one.
did the South Park one, and that was like around Christmas time, and so now it's Fairly OddParents.
Fairly OddParents. And this one, this is the shortest one, I think. Yeah, it's a little bit shorter than South Park. It's like 300. It's 300 on the dot when you count the cartoon specials. And I don't know, despite how like many less episodes it is, by the end of it got really, really annoying. Season like 1 only has 14 little segments in it, you know, or 13, but then you get to season 9 and it has 52. A third of the entirety of the series is season 9 and 10.
See, but like then they have season 8 that's like 5 episodes.
That's 5 episodes.
On like 30 minutes or right, 30
Around
minutes or
that. There's
yeah,
one
20
or
to
more
30.
that, like have a little longer.
Like almost like 1:45. I always blend in what's her name? Susie Burhow. What's her name? Susie Carmichael. What's her name?
Chloe.
See, I don't even fucking. I've been watching this with you for the last like 3 days, and I don't
Yeah.
even fucking remember her name. Cause she's in it so
She's like a little blip, yeah.
Yeah, she's in it so little, and she's honestly not that as bad as I thought.
No, yeah, she's not.
But she's also like, I like her more than Tootie.
Yeah, it's a thing where it's like, this could have been an interesting character if Butch didn't like insist on every character just being like wacky all the time.
It's her fucking design. I hate her dress. I hate
It's
the
too
detail in
much.
her bow.
Yeah.
It's way too much. Like, why do they need to give her a bow just because Timmy has a hat? You know what I mean? Wouldn't it be better if she had like a longer dress where it's like
you don't
Timmy's
like that
silhouette?
she's missing her front teeth?
Yeah, she's got like the Linking Loud mouth.
She does. Yeah, she does have the Linking
She's
Loud
Linking
one.
Loud sibling.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she wasn't as bad as I thought.
No, she was not.
But by the time it got to Flash, it was like unbearable.
It feels like you're being made fun of. Like, it's almost like you're a baby.
Yeah.
Because it's like Bluey. It's
You
like
feel
Bluey
like-
animations. You feel like someone's talking to you like a toddler.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like weird that I ever liked this in the first place, you know?
It makes you kind of embarrassed. You know
Yeah.
what it is? What if us looking at the Flash version is like what our parents looked at when they saw us watching it? Like,
Yeah, maybe.
I remember
But that's the thing is that Butch always describes it when he was like blowing up on YouTube and he was making all these videos like, yeah, I'm the guy who made Fairly OddParents, and he was telling some story about like how it was canceled, but he starts it by talking about how popular it was and how everyone loved it. And he's like, there weren't even like kids watching it, so many of the viewers were adults. And in my head, I'm like, ugh, what adults watching Fairly OddParents, you know, like on their own.
Yeah, but look at us. You know what I mean? That's exactly what we did. But you know what? All in all, Fairly OddParents, 60% of the way through, I would say 70% of the way through, good show. You know?
Yeah, season... I used to be like, season 6 is when it just gets like shit, you know? But season 6 was fine.
Season 6 was fine.
Yeah,
You know
Poof
what
didn't do anything.
But you know what it is? Maybe we think season 6 is fine because season 10 and 9
It
are
is
so
so
shit.
bad. Yeah, I was thinking that whenever I was looking back on season 7, because when we were watching season 7, I was like, holy god, this shit sucks. That's when like the blue one, Foop, kept appearing, and it was just getting really tedious.
And it's always about him, and it's always him and Crocker teaming up, and him and Vicky teaming up.
And then I got to like season 10, and I was like, damn, season 7, I would take that like any day on.
Because it looks so much better.
Even watching the end of season 10, I was like, damn, season 9 was like not that bad compared to this. And that's when we were watching with Gene. Gene came over to our house and watched like 40 episodes of season 9 with us in a row.
We were all like criticizing it,
Yeah.
like nitpicking. It's weirdly become so overly saturated. Like they hone in on the jokes so much that they think that that's the draw-in.
Yeah, and they don't know when to stop. They like
Yeah.
because something's popular once, they try to like do it again. Like, you know what I started thinking is that they every once in a while they would do that thing where they'd end like an episode with the voice clip, you know?
Yeah.
And then that eventually at some point got turned into like
them repeating the same
joke, and then ending the show by just randomly spotting that joke.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Pomeray Ham Blubber Nuggets. They are chewy.
Because, like, the sound clip at the end was pretty much them repeating the joke again, being like,
Yeah.
ha, remember that funny thing in this episode?
Yeah, that random word that said.
Jimmy, don't hide! Jimmy! Get away from my Jimmy!
But then after that, it became like, it cuts to a black screen, and then the character comes on screen to repeat the joke.
What is this? I got the passports. Magic Weenie.
Or it's like 4 different
That's-
characters
yeah,
who
and
had
then it
quips,
became,
like, all come on.
It's
Like,
all piling on, and they're all just like this. They're like 4 running gags of the episode, all just saying the word after
running
each other.
in for no reason, have nothing to do with Timmy, has nothing to do with what's going on.
Yeah,
they
just-
see the fairies are there, doesn't matter.
Yeah. How gradually they really like start spicing in the stuff of like, oh, we don't give a shit anymore. Like when they keep like breaking the rules, but you don't really notice because it's kind of like the minor ones, and then it gets more and more.
They like have a rule where it's you can't make anyone fall in love, right?
Yeah.
So Timmy wishes for Crocker to have a girlfriend, which is like that's
Wishes they
fine
would
because
fall in
Vicky
love. Vicky had a boyfriend.
had a boyfriend. That's fine. They did that before. Well, what's the rule then? You can't make anybody fall in love. So how are you
It's-
making a being
Yeah,
for
it's,
someone to
it's
fall
all
in love
about
with?
like loopholes where they can like get around a previous rule that's set up by going like, oh, this other thing actually like
Yeah.
like where that the special where Timmy's parents meet Cosmo and Wanda, and it's like, oh, we can actually keep them if we just don't tell anyone about it.
I don't want to lose you guys. This is the worst day of my life. Oh, I know. What if we just don't tell this Jorgen fellow that we know? It's not that simple. Actually, sport, it is that simple. What the fuck?
It's like there's a fucking dumb loophole
no,
just for the sake
immediately,
of making it like
at
justifiable.
any point in the series when someone got their fairies taken away, Jorgen immediately pops up and fucking steals that shit and wipes your memory. Like that's his fucking job.
Yeah.
You know, they even have the fairy cab come and pick him up. You know,
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. Whatever. It's
Yeah.
a silly cartoon.
That's the thing is that for a bunch of it, whenever I was getting really like just annoyed by it, I kept being like this is just
Yeah,
this is just
you
a
have to
kid's
remind
cartoon.
yourself.
Like
it's
this isn't the worst thing. If a kid was sitting in front of this, I'd rather that than Coco Melon, you know.
True.
And so it's just like, but then I think back on like season 1, and I'm like, yeah, but it was really cool then,
and
you know?
it was simple.
Season 1 was really like, yeah, it was simple, but it was all really like ambitious, and like they really went out there with everything, and they tried their best to make it like, you know what it is?
Fun.
Season like 9 and 10 is when they're trying to write for kids, you know, instead
Yeah.
of just writing what they like.
See, but like in the beginning, a lot of it was very like it was composited very well.
Yeah.
You know, the composition and the storyboarding was really strong and impactful. Now in like season 9, well not now because it's canceled, but season 9 and 10, I mean, it's like all these flat shots and they hold in the same like pose in the same
It's like
room
Family
for
Guy.
so long. Remember when Timmy actually does the Family Guy like? What would you like supposed to do, Gloria?
Timmy just walked up the spark and he's like, oh, thank you for that. Like he's just
Puts
like
his hand
putting his hand up, like
classic Family Guy move. Put one
Yeah.
arm up.
What kind of music do you like, Gloria?
Hippo hop. Woohoo! Yeah, baby.
Fairly OddParents, though, you know, brought us together. Great show. Gotta Be Butch. The start of this podcast.
That is the thing. It keeps making me like go back to season 1 and 2 and being like, damn, that was really cool. Like what they were trying to do.
It makes you love it more.
Yeah, it does make me appreciate the early seasons way more, and even like seasons like. Because whenever I think back, I'd be like, yeah, season 1, 2, and 3 is really good, but season 4 and 5, it's just
They're-
okay.
they're
But then I went back
fucking
and there's a lot
good.
of good ones in
Yeah.
there, yeah. There's nothing that kind of like tops like all the specials and the cool episodes they do in season 1 or 3, but it's still like, oh, but they're still good though. I used to think of it as like, yeah, 70% is just like, it's all right, but now I'm like, no, it was all right, yeah, that's good, yeah.
You said the same thing.
No, but there's like different connotations, one's
what
like,
you mean.
like it's okay, but the other one's like, oh, it was actually okay,
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? We're
I
very
know what you
tired
mean.
right now.
Yeah,
it's like
pretty late.
Yeah, it's been like nonstop, like for the past
Fairly
like 5 days.
OddParents.
Been waking up, watching Fairly OddParents, going to bed, watching Fairly OddParents. Yeah, and there was a couple nights I always get to the point in the ranking video where I'm like, okay, perfect. I'll speed things along. I'll just stay up all night and watch through like 3 seasons at once. But you forget how much time it takes to like watch one season.
Yeah.
For some of these Fairly OddParents seasons, it would be like, oh, okay, we got our phones here. 9.5 hours.
Yeah, to get through that one season.
So if you were starting to watch that at night to pull an all-nighter, you would not be done until the morning's the morning's here,
And even then, you'd have to articulate your thoughts enough to write something down and then record it.
And you're always sitting like, while you're watching it, you can't like, it's harder to appreciate it when you have to like write stuff about it, you know? You can't just kind of take it for what it is at times, but I don't know. I think it's Fairly OddParents is one of the rare cases where most anyone agrees that the later seasons are trash. Whereas like SpongeBob, people get mad when you say modern SpongeBob's bad.
People get mad because they will defend SpongeBob to their dying day.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like Family Guy and Simpsons. Well, some of those, like Simpsons has gotten, we watched a couple of the newer ones and they were a little better from when I last watched any of it. When it comes to Fairly OddParents, it's the one where I expect that no one's going to argue with me on saying that the early ones are
the
terrible.
Best. The early ones are the best.
Sorry, the early ones are the best, and the later ones are terrible. At so many points, because even by the time it gets to like season like 9, like 10, even some of season 10, I always see in the credits at the start that it's like storyboarded by Butch Hartman, and it's like, it is weird that he was one of those creators who stuck
Very
around with his
hands-on
thing until the end. But then it makes me go like, was he just not like, he'd have to have seen these like scripts then and what they're saying and how they're like disrespecting like what he set out to do, and I guess
how do you know that he didn't think of those ideas himself and is kind of just like, oh, who cares about continuity?
It is the point where it gets so exaggerated that you just keep talking. Like, it's the kind of thing where, okay, set up the rules early on. Timmy can't expose his fairies to anyone. If he does, they get taken away. But then they have a couple episodes later on where they try to work around that by like, they have an episode where Poof gets in like the hands of Timmy's mom and dad, but they don't realize it's a fairy, so he's not technically caught. Cosmo and Wanda
go to a costume party at Trixie's, and they're just out in the open.
Yeah, and it's like, oh,
that's
well, they're not
fine.
caught. Yeah, or like the Halloween one,
Yeah.
But then they start doing the thing where a character will see them, but they'll get like injured, or they'll get hit in the head, or they'll just like
lose their memory.
Something like that,
randomly.
where it's like, oh, they caught them, but it was immediately undone. That's fine. But then it got to the point where it was like, oh, a character sees them, but they just mistake them for something else or don't recognize that they're fairies because everyone's dumb. And then that got exaggerated into,
oh, if you don't tell Jorgen. Yeah,
it's just like, they're just around now. They're just around.
They just hang out with Timmy's dad.
And they stop. There's like 5 episodes in a row when they get introduced Sparky, where they have the same moment where Sparky talks in front of Timmy's dad, and he's like, "Wait, you can talk?" And then that's it, just to acknowledge that.
You know what that is, though? What if that's just a rip? This is a theory. This is me theory crafting. This is theory crafting right now. What if it's a thing where it's like Butch saw Seth MacFarlane do it? Remember in Brian's in Love?
Oh my God! You can talk!
When they're at the bar?
No,
you don't think so?
He does try to do that kind of like manly, like man humor, you know.
You don't think so, though? Now you're thinking back at the joke.
I don't think it was specifically about Seth MacFarlane's one joke from a random episode of season 2. Yeah, Butch really wants to make like Timmy's dad a thing.
Yeah.
By season 9.
Well, it's because the meme Dinkelberg blew up,
and like they had like the meme where the trophy meme, like if I had one, and they had like him bashing through the door, and they had him at the pageant.
Oh yeah.
You know, all these like big wacky moments with him that fans loved. So they're like, oh, if we just use him more, people will like
the show.
And so they start doing like episode after episode where it's all about Timmy and his dad. But the whole point is that his parents were neglectful. They just don't care about that because there's an opportunity for more jokes. Yeah,
And
exactly.
even towards the end of the series, like they completely get rid of their main antagonist, which is Vicky. Like Vicky is
Vicky-
literally no longer there.
I think Vicky is maybe in like one episode of the last season, and she's in every title card. You know.
Yeah, she is the opener.
She was the central but no, Crocker's the main antagonist by the end. It's just, but then.
But Crocker's
it's that-
not even really an antagonist.
but
He's just another character.
He's just another character.
He tags along.
It's that thing again where it's like everyone loves Crocker. He's wacky, he's silly, and he has little catchphrases.
Very good parents! Admit it! You have very good parents! Have a nice day!
And he's like the villain, you know? So it's cool. So they're like, oh, we want to have Crocker be the main character more. So he just becomes less of a villain and more of the protagonist for a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
And the whole joke is that he's incompetent. You know, you just run it into the ground because you spend the whole episode
Which is
with
kind
him.
of dumb because he was always like a very, very smart person. He was just
Yeah,
crazy.
he's
He was
crazy.
just obsessed with fairies. That was it. But he was a genius. He has a whole lab. Like he makes inventions. You know.
Yeah.
How is he like so much? Like how is he an idiot? And it's really funny because there was something that me and Mark noticed where in Channel Chasers, when they go to the Simpsons land, right? Timmy points out to Cosmo and Wanda how like all the adults are just idiots. They're morons.
Hey, daddly, daddly, diddly, 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 daddly. Oh, come on. Is every adult in the show a moron?
Yeah.
But then you go to the end of the series and that's exactly what it is.
What it is, but it's like he doesn't care about that kind of stuff as long as it's funny. It's like one of those shows
Yeah.
where it gets to that point.
But then it's the same argument. It's like, why are you gonna get mad at a kid's
Why are you
cartoon?
gonna
It's
get mad at a
silly.
kid's cartoon? Yeah. At the end of the day, this is just like talking about it because we enjoy, you know.
Yeah,
it's
we
funny,
just really
but
like the
At the end of the
show.
day, it's not that big of a deal that
No,
Fairly OddParents
yeah.
only had like 60 seasons. Like, who cares?
You know, if we're really concerned, we'll just watch the first 3 again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they have Timmy's dad, who everyone loves and is a memeable character, and they have Mr. Crocker, who everyone loves and is a memeable character, and they're like, oh, it's genius, it's gold if we just put them in the same episode together, you know?
Yeah.
It's perfect. And then
They're
they
friends now.
Yeah, and they start having episode after episode where it's both of them, like where it's like, oh, we're doing a neighborhood watch, and it's Timmy's dad and Mr. Crocker, or it's like that team up to
Or
like
it's
take
like all
each
the
other
women.
down.
Timmy wishes all the women are gone in the world. So it's
So
Crocker,
it's Crocker and
Timmy's dad, Timmy, and Cosmo,
Cosmo who's hanging
all
around.
hanging out in the living room.
Yes.
Like
It just becomes like bumming around with like, what if we paired these characters
literally
together?
all just bums.
Just sitting around.
Tom.
my friend Tom and I, we always like to mention random Tom.
The
shit.
mouse.
He says, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the biggest bum of them all? which is not clever or funny at all, but he always
It's
like
just dumb.
he goes on
It's
like
so
he
juvenile.
goes on like random people's Facebook profiles and like messages them that. Yeah, no, it just becomes like, here's the concept, there you go. But then by season 10, it becomes here's like the episode, here's the structure. Then you have the conflict, like this is the start, this is the end. The conflict doesn't come into play until like here, you know, like 75% of the way through the episode. Like whenever they switched to Flash, they clearly were told like, okay, you need to keep certain episodes within certain like background budgets, you know.
Yeah.
So there are episodes where it's the characters just standing against one backdrop and then repeating the same jokes to each other for like 5 minutes, or they stop and like a character will say something dumb and the character will like another character will look at them and be like, that's a dumb thing. And they're like, why is it a dumb thing? They're like, it is a dumb thing. It's just like
It's
that.
just them arguing and bickering
just
with one
to
another.
fill out time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is droning. And you know what's crazy is it doesn't take very long to just make one like random gradient background with a little square for a window.
Is that they try to get more ambitious with the background. But the
Yeah.
older ones were like super lazy, you know?
Yeah, they had just like 2 lines and like a box for a window, and that was like enough.
It was evident that whoever was like doing the backgrounds were just tracing from or going
like
off the storyboards.
boards. Yeah, because it was
Yeah.
all loose. It was all nothing was like articulated like thoroughly. You know, it was all just like done, and
Yeah.
that was the biggest charm of it all.
Yeah.
So by the end of it, they really start like adding like gradients and like gutters to Timmy's house, and like they start like making everything try to look pretty.
Yeah, it looks like they do that with the animation too, though, where they like forget that it's all supposed to be like super snappy with like strong posing. It's not just the characters waving their
See,
arms
but like
back and forth.
a lot of the animation towards the end of the series becomes that thing where it's like it's like storytime animators, you know,
Or it's
where
like the
it's a
fonts,
bounce
like, yeah.
to every movement. You move an arm, has a bounce. Blink, you have a bounce.
And I get you're gonna have some form of that with like rigged animation in some way.
Obviously, like it gives the character more life.
Yeah.
But the way You know, Butch even described it in our podcast where he was saying how he only had a limited budget, so he didn't mind that the animation wasn't that good so long as they budgeted themselves for
Like
the stuff they
writing.
wanted to like invest in. And so when you look at like season 9 and 10, you kind of like, where is that?
It's like overcompensating. Yeah.
Yes. There's an episode, I don't remember which one it was. It was in season 10. I was like overwhelmed. There was so much shit going on. I was like, holy fuck. Why? Like,
It's like all these different characters who they just automatically assume you'll know and like already like. Like they just take the characters people like Mark Chang or Catman or you know, and it's like episodes where all these characters like Timmy's dad will show up, then Crocker will show up, then Catman will show up, and then it's like his mother will show up, you know, and it's just shit like that where it's just trying to like make you laugh with like whatever it has.
And all this wacky shit going on in the background, and like also Timmy hardly wishes anymore.
No, the last episode of the whole series doesn't even have him wishing for anything. Yeah, they just want to keep shoving in characters, hoping that like you'll like one of them, and it's like.
Or they can make a meme.
But the thing is, Fairly OddParents was never that funny of a show.
See, Fairly OddParents was always charming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was charming.
That was
like,
why I liked it.
Little
It was
characters
charming.
who just all liked each other, you know, like trying to, like Timmy's like a little underdog, you know. Everyone's
shitting on him.
So you'll like that he has two like people at his highest who like he's always like there for him, you know.
Even his friends, like in the beginning of the series, his
But
friends
they
are
were,
really
like,
shitty to
pricks.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. His friends were shitty to him.
The first episode with him is them like sneaking into his room and like making fun of him and then jumping inside his TV, you know.
True, yeah, playing his video games.
Yeah.
Asking AJ like rubs it in Timmy's face that he gets like straight A's, you know.
Yeah, they're all like little pricks.
They're like pricks to each
They're like
other.
actual kids. Yeah.
And then there's like Francis, which is his bully. Crocker's his teacher who like fails him all the time.
And then no one else really notices him.
Yeah, nobody else gives a fuck about him.
Yeah, I really like that. Early on, it was like all about isolating Timmy in some form, you know.
Yeah.
Like that was what was the basis for all. So many episodes early on just opened up with like a little 3 like comic strip, you know, where it's like Timmy doing one thing and then a problem happens. He does another thing like at school and another problem happens, or the same problem from before happens. And he does a third thing, the same problem happens, and he goes home and he wishes the opposite.
Yeah.
And then he learns by the end that he was better off not having wished for anything. It was always what,
always
like be
learned a
careful what
lesson.
you wish for. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then later on, it's just like, oh, I need this right now. I'll wish for it. You know, like, oh, I want my dog to be a human. I'll wish for it. You know, it's just shit like that.
See, but I also like that in the beginning of the series, it was this thing where like Wanda was kind of like she was the voice of reason, but it wasn't like how they made her towards the end, where she's just like a nagging bitch.
Yeah.
Like her punchline for 4 seasons was her going nag, nag, nag. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like that's not what she was. She would always be like, "Oh, Timmy, I don't know about this. Maybe you shouldn't do this."
She would be doing it like she already knows the answer, but she's like supposed to let him like figure it out for himself. She's just
Yeah,
trying to like
she's
veer
guiding
him in
him.
the right direction. Yeah.
You know, like they're like their parents, right? So it's like they're kind
more
of
knowledgeable. Yeah.
guide Timmy into doing the right thing.
It's like.
You know what's a good example? The Vicky episode, when he wishes that Vicky was a kid and then he's her babysitter.
Yeah, and she's like,
And-
I don't know if you should like.
She's
wanna
like, you just
take
made a little
revenge
girl
on it."
cry. Yeah.
I always really like that like kind of parental aspect of it, where it is them like teaching him how to be a better person. But then later on in like season 10, because they have so many characters, Cosmo and Wanda just kind of like fall to the west side, so they can have like Timmy talking to Chloe, or him talking to his dad, or Crocker, and every once in a while Cosmo and Wanda will like
Come
chime
up
in
and,
for a
like,
little like
say a
side
quip,
gag.
yeah.
Or they're just there to like make the wishes, but half the time they don't want them to make the wishes because they know there's no conflict they can come up with. So they're like, oh, where's the wand so we can wish for this thing to be done? It's like, oh, I threw them away at the start of the episode off
It's
screen.
so dumb.
And it's like, just, you clearly don't want to write this show,
And
so
that
why are you
happens
doing
so
it?
many times too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of episodes with that. It's like, oh, we lost our wands. How? I don't know.
Yeah, they get really.
It's
It's
dumb.
a thing where it's like, damn, you got really lazy. Because early on they would do that occasionally, you know.
Yeah.
But you don't really notice it because it's like, oh, it's every now and then, you know. That it's usually
Well, it's
like, the
oh,
rules get in the way of it.
Tootie had their wand and threw it in her collection of wands. Like
Yeah, so they have
that's
to
like,
find it.
oh, okay, that makes sense.
You see
know?
it like being taken away as like to up the stakes as the action is like rising.
Yeah,
you know?
before like a time limit is reached, because there's always like some sort of time pressure. Something's always time sensitive. Before his parents get back, before Vicky gets back, or something, you
Something
know.
like that. Yeah, or his godparents
Before
get
Crocker
taken
finds
away.
out, yeah.
It's always some shit like that. And then that makes me think, like, in my head, it's like, okay, that is pretty limited in scope in the plots you can come up with that. So I get why you
But
would just
it's
slowly
not-
start veering towards.
It's not limited because your fucking plot is you could wish for anything.
Yeah, but if it always has to like revolve around some kind of like life lesson or message, it's like I get how it's like it's easier just to be like, what if Timmy wished he was a
Okay.
spaceman? You know,
What's an episode that was in your, let's look at our list. Let's look at your ranking list right
Yeah.
now. What is an episode that is in your top that didn't have a lesson? Let's look.
Jimmy Timmy Power Hour 2, the second one.
Yes, the lesson was he had to treat his friends better.
that was Jimmy Timmy 3.
Oh, that's the 3. Wait, what? God, what's the second one again? Who's the bad guy in the second one?
The Anti-Fairies and Professor Calamitous.
That's right. That's right.
He fuses with Jorgen.
The second one is the one I've watched the least. The first one
Yeah.
is my favorite and I've watched the most, and then the third one is like the one that was always playing.
Yeah, because it was the most recent one. Schools Like the Musical also doesn't have a lesson. Abracatastrophe doesn't have a lesson either. The Secret Origin of Denzel Crocker doesn't have a...
Yes, it does.
What's the moral?
The moral was you can't change the past.
That's not the moral at all. But it's high up on the list because it's like not every fucking cartoon needs to teach a moral.
I
get
know.
that, you know. No, I know. That's just the thing when you talk about morals in cartoons or lessons. A lot of people are like, "What does everything need a moral? Like, why can't stuff just be fun?" And it's like it's a 3-act structure. You know, just teach your kid a lesson at the end of the day. You know.
You would hope that they would have a moral because it's nonsense.
It shows the character changing. You know.
Yeah.
They learn something. Like I feel like that's just part of any like story. The moral is like the key word for it, but it's just the character
Anything
goes
that makes
through
the
some
character
change.
develop, yeah.
Yeah, in somewhat, and that's what I liked about it early on. A lot of the ones near the top of the ranking, though, don't have a moral, but they're high up because they're just cool, you know?
Yeah.
Like, not everything needs a moral. Sometimes a cartoon can just be, like, a cool little, like, story. Like, the Denzel Crocker, the origin one from season 3.
I love that episode.
Yeah, that's really good. There's no moral, you know? It's just...
The moral was you can't change the past.
That's not the moral.
It was.
It was just,
Because
like,
he-
what's wrong? It was character, like... It was
It
showing
was
character, like,
showing
stuff.
what happened to Crocker, and it was really cool that Timmy is the cause of how
It's like
Crocker
it all
was.
circles back.
Yeah.
So it's like doesn't no like it's not about Timmy learning a lesson, but it's just like, oh, that was cool. That was a cool
Can't
little
change
twist.
the past.
And then you have ones like Jimmy Timmy 2, where it's like there's no moral, but it's cool just saying Jimmy and Timmy together like doing shit.
What about Miss Dimsdale? What's the lesson there?
Yeah, there's none. It's just like a little silly little
I
episode.
I'm aware that like Fairly OddParents had a lot of nonsense throughout its series.
But you didn't care because there was a balance.
Yeah, well, there was a balance because it was kind of like Timmy was being a prick and in some way got his like
Yeah.
ass checked.
Or one of his like antagonists would like the Miss Dimsdale one is just that he notices Vicky is like
trying to cheat.
But it's like all in like his own kind of gain because it's like, oh, if she wins, she gets to be like mayor for a day, I think.
Yeah,
she
and
will
she
torture
can make
me.
him be like her slave.
Yeah, so there's always like some threat to Timmy, you know. It's just like Timmy's sitting around and he's like, oh, I want like to go go-karting today, you know. I wish to go go-karting.
Yeah,
you know?
I know
like
what you
and then
mean.
that's the episode. That's really what it kind of becomes at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's really sad to see because you can like kind of see its former self like
Fade
tucked
away.
yeah, like in there, and it's like it's kind of sad seeing it slowly fade.
Dude, seeing it in Flash, it's like
Oh, it's like yeah.
oh, how it's animated. Like they could have done it. They could have done it where like they could have pulled it off and made it look good, but
They didn't have the time.
they didn't
or
have
the money.
time or the resources. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So I can't blame them.
and it's just a thing of like, Butch, how'd you let this happen?
He got a show
He got
to have
his show
10 seasons.
to have 10 more episodes than it would have otherwise.
You
Yeah.
know?
So that's the thought process. It's more about he's a
The
good businessman.
legacy.
Yeah, it's about like I have a show in the air. You know, I am hip. I'm current.
That's what you think Butch thinks.
Yeah, I think he thinks that. Like, if I don't have a show in the air, then what am I doing? You know? 'Cause
We had
think
like
about that.
four shows in the air.
He had shows on the. He's had a show in the air for like 15 years at that point.
I respect Butch.
I respect him a
Yeah.
lot.
I adore his early work.
Yeah, people try to like take a lot of credit away from him by being like, "Well, it was actually this guy who designed like these characters." It's
It's like,
oh,
no.
he.
Come on.
If you look at the credits for a lot of the early ones, he's like
Butch was
writing, he's storyboarding.
hands on, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like,
And I bet you a lot of the episodes you like, Butch was a part of it.
yeah, just respect him as an artist.
I respect him as an artist.
what he did as an artist at least.
know, he
Not with his current
definitely-
Crocker versus Five Nights at Freddy's drawings.
Okay, but I really like the Flappy Bob and Pennywise.
Pennywise
I love
sucks.
that. Oh, I want that so badly. I should have asked him.
I should have asked him. Yeah.
I should have asked him. Oh.
We were gonna meet Butch Hartman at the Comic-Con, but then I was working on this video, so we couldn't go down. I really
You
wanted
know
to
what
get.
though? Imagine if you would have went down and put footage of you saying hi to him in your video.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Would have been delaying it a week though. Also, I'm afraid to like
Meet him in person
ever again
again.
because it's almost like I met up with him in person and was nice to him and did a podcast with him and then immediately make a video. Made a video making fun of the fact that I just faked a podcast to meet up with him.
But it's not fake. It's
not
real.
fake, Butch. It's real. You're watching
See?
it. If you want to sit here.
You can sit right here next to us.
I watched all of your show, Butch. I think I'm owed it. I sat through Chloe.
But you're the reason why we got married. But you were the one.
Chloe is better than the dog.
Chloe is better than the dog.
The dog is like the ultimate, like, cringy, like, oh,
The
you
dog
are
adds
trying to
nothing.
be cool. You know what it's like? I realized it's like the dog is like, oh, what if we added like another Cosmo to the group? And then Chloe's like, oh, what if we added another Wanda to the group? You know, they're like stereotypical version
Yeah.
of them.
I think it's the thing where Chloe is like the anti-Timmy.
Yeah, they make a big effort to like fucking shove it in your face in the first episode.
They're
That's like, she's the
opposites.
opposite to you.
Yeah. And then for Sparky, I think it's a thing where they wanted Sparky to be the
Timmy's
new
friend.
Timmy's friend, but the new funnier Cosmo.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a thing where I can't help but look at it and I'm like, why did you think this would be good? Like, it's they had the success of like Poof. You know, Poof was the biggest episode of the whole
Poof
show.
was a really big
It was
deal.
like 9 million viewers. It's the most viewed episode of the whole show. Yet, like, it's a baby. They don't talk. You don't have to do any effort. The baby just has to like float around and everyone's happy.
But you know what? Poof gets a decent amount of screen time, but not enough where they're annoying, and they're actually fine.
The only time I was ever annoyed with Poof was whenever they do the school episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really just makes me respect the early seasons more. It's weird. It changes dramatically from season 5 to 6, even though it's not like HD or anything. Because remember, the animation goes through this weird like
Transition
where it's way more like
It's-
active now.
Yeah, they're a lot more. They're like doing more like faces, funny faces, and like
Funny faces and
doing more gags, like Looney Tune gags.
and everything's like double shaded, you know.
Yeah.
And it looks good, but some of the charm is lost.
Yeah, it's just different.
Yeah, it's trying to be like really. It's when it starts trying to be like a wacky slapstick cartoon.
Yeah, they
where
really
Timmy gets like injured all the time.
Yeah, they really play up the Looney Tunes gags.
Yeah,
like,
and
a
I
lot.
personally don't like that.
I think it could, if it's done well and it's every now and then, that's fine.
Yeah,
but
every
they
now
do
and
it.
then.
They do it a lot because I think they're trying to find their footing comedically.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be trying to find that in season 6 when your
Mm-hmm.
previous style was already working just fine.
I know, but
Yeah.
maybe you know what though? Like ratings wise, did you look at the ratings for each season?
Fairly OddParents consistently did really well on the network up until season 10, I think. Even a lot of season 9 would get like 5 million viewers
Really?
sometimes. I think that's the episode where they introduced the dog got 5 million viewers. But then the episode where they introduced Chloe, 1 million.
Because nobody gave a shit.
Yeah, that, but also, you know, streaming and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a thing where I'm sure kids at the time were watching that and going like, oh, this is more Fairly OddParents. This is fine. This is cool.
I remember when I heard they added a girl, I was pissed. I was like, how
I
the
was
fuck?
pissed
I was
too.
like, how the fuck do you add a girl?
Yeah.
How do they
for
fucking
ratings.
share? That
Yeah.
sucks.
And they could have made Chloe work. The whole gimmick is that she's too perfect, you know, so sometimes she messes up when she tries to help people and she loves sharing and being nice. But they could have easily made it like, oh, she is like forced to be perfect all the time and her parents are super strict. It's like the opposite of Timmy, where
Yeah.
her parents are like always on her. And Cosmo and Wanda are given to her as a reprieve from her like stressful life.
home. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
That would have been a way better.
but not then. Not every character could be like a dumb, wacky, silly character. They'd have to write characters who
That are
actually
mean.
like mean.
But it's like Vicky was mean. The dentist was mean.
But then
Like
they just-
Jorgen was mean.
But then they just make like Vicky comedically mean, where it's like she has chainsaws. And,
yeah,
like,
and
fucking
she's like,
grappling hooks
her
and-
parents are terrified of her, and she's like a big threat to everyone. Everyone's scared of her.
Yeah, whereas early on she was just like a bitchy girl.
Tangent, but you know what? I really, really like the episode where Vicky has the nice, or like the evil bug.
I like that one too.
And she's like really nice, and Timmy like really likes her.
Yeah, I like the plot of that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, no, and then Vicky just doesn't even appear later on.
Yeah, Vicky is gone for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You see her at the end of season 9, but she only appears once in season 10, and it's in the episode where she's like threatening Timmy's dad with a chainsaw while he wears a helmet to indicate that he's like
dumb,
like mentally challenged. Then they have Foop just hanging out with them, not being a villain, while Vicky's like talking to the fairies, and Timmy's dad's talking to the fairies, and no one cares. You know, they don't even draw attention to it. And that's a 22-minute episode too. It's just 22 minutes.
It's just nonsense.
Yeah, it's just what can we fill this out with? What rigs do we have laying around? And at one point in season 10, near the end of the show, they have Edget and Trixie and Tootie in a shot in season 10 in Flash, but it's in a crowd shot where it's like it's like a line, and it's like panning across, and it shows them, and they're all just like clearly
model
just,
sheets,
like, cut out PNGs of them. They don't blink, they don't move at all, and like. And it really draws attention to the fact that in the early seasons, the characters were rarely drawn on model.
Yeah.
It was always like artists who had their like own slightly different. Like if you look at the way John Fontaine like draws Timmy Turner, is
very
not, like,
different than how Butch draws Timmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll put them up for comparison.
And I don't know. I liked when Timmy had like a longer head. He
had a longer head, shorter hair.
He had a bigger body.
Yeah, he was long. He was like, about like half of his body was a half size of his head.
But then by the time you get to season 10, it's like a direct trace of model sheet Timmy.
Which
and
Mark
it's like,
hates.
He has these giant fucking bug eyes, but they're like perfect circles, like just slapped in the middle of his face. Then he has these giant teeth.
Pupils.
And long teeth. Yeah, pupils and teeth. And his hair like flows all the way down.
His hair flips down too much, and his hat's really big and long.
Yeah, and he's got a giant head and a tiny body, and it just looks terrible. I like when he's like in the
slouched over.
Yeah, when he's slouched over, but also when he's like in the Jimmy Neutron universe, and like he's just like a guy, you know? He's just like kind of like has a normal like build. He's not like a fucking like tiny little chibi
midget
thing.
kid.
Yeah.
Chibi.
Yeah, it looks terrible. So anytime I see like model sheet Timmy, because they love using him, like slapping him on stuff.
They put model sheet Timmy on everything. Yeah. The big like School's Out musical, the big little Oval Office picture has the model sheet Timmy. Any picture on 2D's wall, model sheet Timmy.
Yeah, the Hall of Timmys in the castle.
Yeah, all
model sheet Timmy. It's a wall of them.
That's really funny. I like model sheet Timmy. I think model sheet Timmy looks cute.
I think he is funny, but when it's like him like being a brat in episodes, it's like I'm just watching this little fucking baby run around. Like, and they're really like, because he has to share his fairies, they really up his like brattiness.
Yeah, he is kind of a brat.
Yeah, he's like, they turn him into like a cool Bart Simpson, you know, sings Impeachable.
Put on Impeachable right
Who
here.
said that? What is Impeachable, Veronica?
It's Tara Strong and Tommy Pickles. It's Tommy Pickles and Timmy Turner singing "He's Impeachable," which is a parody version of "You Are Beautiful." Or no, "You Are Beautiful." Yeah, in every single way. But it's about Donald Trump and how Donald Trump should be impeached.
But they hit the high notes, and it sounds like Tommy Pickles like wheeling.
Well, no.
Look that up. That's really funny when you hear that.
Okay.
We'll show you guys so you don't have to look it up.
He's impeachable, no matter what they say.
Strong, come onto our podcast.
We can do a live cover of Impeachable. It worked.
So lame.
So it reminds me of like the Imagine like COVID thing that.
Oh my god.
If you try.
No hell below us.
Above us only the sky. Imagine all the people.
Where it's like, yeah, you're sure making a difference.
Yeah, it's like all you fucking millionaires sitting in your goddamn luxury homes. Great. And singing John Lennon's Imagine.
We're sitting next to the Brian Griffin Baldy basic wall.
Yeah, look. Mark has an angry Baldy right behind him. I love that angry Baldy.
Yeah, Baldy's Basic gives a bunch of merch.
Yeah, he did. Shout out to Micah.
Micah, yeah.
Okay, I want to go through your list.
Okay, yeah, go through
I
my
want.
list.
I want to at least go through your like top 20.
Yeah, Veronica does not influence my list at all.
There was like one or two where I'm like, come on, and
And
Mark's
then I'm
okay,
like, oh yeah, I don't know how that got there. Yeah.
Okay, so number 1 is Channel Chasers, which I would agree with. Channel Chasers
Yeah.
is the best
and
episode.
I remember when I said that to you, you were like, not Father Time, and it's like Father Time. If someone sat me down and was like, you can either watch Channel Chasers or Father Time, I'd say Father Time. You know, 'cause it's like it's shorter, it's like more
Yeah.
snappy, it's got funnier moments, but it's like Channel Chasers is like this event, you know, this big epic thing, and I can't like help but think of
Can't
like being a
overlook it.
kid. And like seeing that for the first time and seeing the ending with Timmy's dad and like seeing all the
Dude.
parodies and how much effort goes into it, and it's like, okay, that's the best, you know?
Yeah, no,
It-
dude, Channel Chasers, like that fucking blew my mind as a kid. If you sat me down and asked me, I'd pick Channel Chasers.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, oh, I just enjoy this way more.
Yeah.
It gets me like that little like excited feeling, you know, every time I
Yeah.
watch it.
Exactly.
So Channel Chasers, that's fair. Second one, Jimmy Timmy Power Hour 2, When Worlds Collide. I disagree. I disagree hard.
Yeah.
Number 2, Jimmy Timmy Power Hour 2.
I think that is the Fairly OddParents episode I've watched the most.
Really?
I would watch that. I recorded it on my Sky cable box, and I watched it on repeat over and over again. I had all 3 of them like recorded.
Aw.
I loved watching. I remember I came home from like Gaelic practice, like early one day, and pretended to be sick because I saw they were airing Jimmy Timmy 3 for the first, and I'd never seen it before. I think it was new. But I really liked the power. That's how I got into drawing. I would like sit in front of my TV and I'd pause the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour 2 moments and like redraw like the Jimmy Neutron.
You draw
characters.
Sheen.
Yeah, I draw like Sheen or try to draw Cosmo.
Cindy.
I wish I could find those old drawings. I had them on my wall for ages.
Aw.
As
Maybe
a
your
kid.
granny has them.
Nah,
Oh.
definitely not. I think I threw them away at one point.
Third one, School's Out Musical. Definitely. I would put Father Time at number 2, and I would agree with School's Out Musical.
Hey, Floppy Bob, can't you see what they've done?
School's Out Musical was originally a lot lower. It was Father Time and stuff was above School's Out Musical at one point, but it's another thing where it's like so big and there's all these like fun songs.
Yeah.
The animation's really like creative.
The boarding is great.
And it's like I can acknowledge that like Father Time is shorter and more like consistently good and like snappy and like fun. But this is like I have to like marvel at it, you
School's
know.
Out Musical was a really big deal too when it came out.
Yeah, I loved
That
it.
was another, like, I swear to God, like every fucking Fairly OddParents special, it like blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because they always did something new and different. Like this School's Out Musical, they didn't do any musicals before then.
Yeah,
You
and
know? They had some songs, but
And a lot of shows they did not like have as much like continuity or specials as the Fairly OddParents, you know.
yeah.
I felt like they were constantly like building on itself.
You know. But either way, in the beginning, he utilized it very, very well.
He really wanted like to use this simple plot and tell this grander story with it, like,
Yeah.
and very occasionally he got that, so I have to appreciate it when it comes.
Number 4, Father Time. Then it's A Wish Too Far, which is the one where Timmy wishes that he was cool,
I like the ending a lot.
and you like how he looks.
Yeah, I like the little courtroom stuff, or Timmy gets his little second chance. I like that one.
Abracatastrophe. Abracatastrophe. I did not really like I appreciate Abracatastrophe for what
it's the first one.
it was. The first one,
It's
and it was
so
really
big.
cool, and there was a lot going on.
And the whole fight at the end is so like visually good.
Yeah, the fight is great. Everything with him and Crocker, but it's the bippy
It's
stuff.
everything.
It's
with
the fucking
it's-
monkey shit.
Also, I timed it whenever we were watching it again. They don't like leave the bedroom for the first time until 20 minutes into the special.
But
they
it's
literally
so good.
Everything there is good. And it's like I like the song, I like the little parodies they do, but it's a thing where when it gets to like 20 minutes in and the first special's over, I'm like, I just watched them stand around a room the whole time. I look at the bigger picture and it's like, holy shit, that first half, like with all that stuff and the monkey shit, really drags on.
Yes, and like that's where I drop off.
Yeah.
Is the Bippy shit.
Yeah.
I feel like Bippy the monkey getting like the big next wish that changes the world
It's dumb.
was really dumb.
Why is it by monkeys?
Yeah.
You know what should have happened? It should have been the muffin being that whole Bippy time should have been taken up with like the muffin like hot potatoing to all these different people throughout time that you've gotten to know over the past 3 seasons, and it's
Wishing for random
it's
shit.
like him going to alternate universes where like they get their way, you know.
Yeah.
Like the way Mr. Crocker's is, you know, it's like everyone's version of that before Mr. Crocker gets it, and
Well,
it's like here's the
that's
big
pretty
bad
much
one.
what Bippy did. He
Yeah,
got
but
his
it's like
way.
more of that, you know.
Yeah, I know what you
so
mean.
that's the theme, is that it's all these people like getting the ultimate power to rule the world. But it comes together and you're like, okay, I appreciate that a lot. And the ending is really good where he reveals to his parents for the first time that he has fairies.
Yeah, that was like a really big deal, and you're like, oh man, no, it's like the first is year anniversary of having his fairies,
Yeah.
and like he has to give them up.
No, it's good. It's
That's
good.
great. It's great.
Yeah.
But it's just the bippy stuff.
It's just the
Yeah.
first half.
And then the secret origin of Denzel Crocker, which is fucking great. I would put that at my
Yeah.
number 4.
You put that number 4.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. It's another one of those things where like Father Time, it gets over it for being like shorter and snappier and like
Yeah.
fun and funny. Whereas like this one it's when it kind of like starts getting into that like the Fairly OddParents humor where it's like, oh, at least it's not raining, like, that kind of humor.
Yeah.
And it's like Cosmo
Gags.
being a dumbass, and it's like, don't pull the thing, Cosmo. And he's like, okay, and then he pulls it, and the joke is that he pulls it.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of stuff. But it's one of those cases where the plot and how like cool it is and how good the twists are,
Dude, I
like
know.
elevate it above other ones.
Seeing like how Crocker started, seeing like Crocker like
Yeah.
save Timmy's mom, right? He saves Timmy's mom with his little skateboard in the
Yeah.
beginning, or Timmy's dad or something.
Saves his mom, I think. Oh no, he saves
No,
the
it's
dad.
his dad.
The dad's annoyed that
Yeah,
he saved him.
the dad's really no. The dad's like his
Oh, he's
friend.
really grateful, yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, Dinkelberg's over there, and he's all pissed at Dinkelberg with him or whatever.
That's right.
But like Denzel's like a Chad or whatever, and Timmy ruins it.
You're also seeing it like go backwards in time. You go like 10 years before, and then 20 years, then
Yeah.
30 years, then 40 years, and it's all like you get to see his history like going in reverse. It's
How
all
he's been
cool.
crazy and been ridiculed his whole life.
and how it's
like,
only gotten worse over time.
and he's like, oh, this is like the third worst day of my life, the second worst day of my life.
Yeah.
And then you see the worst, and it's like, oh, it's when Timmy is the reason
Timmy-
why his fucking
yeah.
fairies got taken away.
Yeah, that one's great.
That was a great episode. And then The Boys in the Band, which is Chip Skylar
Classic.
getting kidnapped by Vicky. I always love quoting when he's like, another day, another wackadoo holding me against my will.
I just like him because his voice is so like subdued compared to everyone else. He's so
yeah,
like
he's
chill.
such a
He's
he's
like a
so
nice guy.
dreamy. he has a dreamy voice. Oh my god. Oh, I love that.
I always loved when they bring back his like songs, like in the background, like playing little ringtones or whatever.
Yeah, I like it too.
Great.
The Fairly OddParents ringtone.
Yeah.
We were talking about that the other day. And then The Boy Who Would Be Queen, which is the one where Timmy turns into a girl.
Yeah, I always like that. I always like the joke where Timmy's like, you know what I think, and Cosmo's like, who cares what you think? You're a girl now. They were really like, it was evidently like really written by men at the end. You know
like
what's
that,
something we
though.
noticed too? I was looking up like a bunch of the writers for the newer episodes whenever it was happening,
Oh,
and every
yeah.
time it would be like a 50-year-old woman, and it's like, why are they writing like a 10-year-old kid? And I get it, like whoever can write anything, but it's like the early episodes are clearly are clearly being written from the perspective of the writer telling like a story of when they were a kid, like learning a lesson that like they would have learned as a kid, like Timmy learning that like people like should like him for who he is and not the stuff he had, it's stuff like that like every kid would go through. And then you get to the end and it's like, oh, they wish for like cartoon characters in the TV to come to life, and then they like hypnotize them to being nice, and it's like it's just jokes, it's just wacky all the time.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it's written like they write it like they think that this is what children would like want to see.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, they're writing a kids show.
and I think that is just like the younger perspective. As the older you get, the kind of more you lose that
Yeah.
innocence in a way, or the more likely you are to like lose that like innocence.
Okay, and then we got
Very idle.
Fairy Idol, which I'm like, why would you put Fairy Idol this far up?
I just like it for the song, honestly.
Which one? Give me the one.
Yeah, that song always
And
gets
you
stuck in my head.
It gets stuck in my head a lot too. Don't get me wrong, I love Norm Macdonald.
I like the stuff with
Okay.
Chester finally getting fairies.
Yeah, I like Chester like trying to do good, and like he's like recognized as living a miserable life. Like at first
Yeah.
he was happy being miserable, but now he's actually miserable.
I like Timmy getting to such a point in the series where he's like so selfish and like
He turns into Crocker.
he is. It's like him like using his godparents just to like dress him in the morning and shit. He's like taking advantage of them. Like them being there is no longer like cool and magical to him. It's just like the norm.
Yeah, but he also was like tricked into like losing his fairies.
Yeah.
Like he was rude a little bit at first, but then like Norm does his thing or whatever, and then it's like, oh, okay, Why are you having a singing competition?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's all based around a marketing stunt, but it's like I like this. It's the one where I like a lot of parts of it, but it doesn't come together to make the best episode. But I still like those parts enough. I like the little part where Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda walk down the rainbow back to Earth.
Oh, I like
The
that
only
too.
time you get to
That's
see them
really
do
sad. Yeah. You're reminding me of a lot of the good things. I guess you know what it is I just didn't like the gimmick.
Yeah, the gimmick.
The gimmick bothers me
But
so
I like
much.
the song.
But I like the song. I love Norm Macdonald. Then it's Shiny Teeth, and that's when he gets his teeth stolen. Which I don't know why you would put that above the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour.
Because of the song elevates that episode.
Or the
so
fucking
much.
Fairy Idol. I don't know why that would go above the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. And then
The first Jimmy Timmy Power Hour is just like, what if this switched places,
but
which
it's
is cool. But it's like,
I know you mean.
Yeah.
The stakes aren't high enough for you. I get it. What about Emotion Commotion? Which one's
I
that
like
one?
that one. That's the one where Timmy wishes for all his emotions to go away.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. And
I like
Cosmo's like babysitting all of them.
Yeah, I like that one.
That one's a good one, yeah. And then Power Mad.
That's the second episode. That's where
Oh,
Edge
that's
and Chester
right.
go inside
They
the
go
video
into
game.
the video game.
I just like when he's like, I have 3 lives.
I have 3 lives.
He pushes them off
He's like
and kills
screaming really realistically.
them. Jimmy Timmy Power Hour 3 Jerkinators, which
It's less special.
why
but
does that
it's-
go above a partnership?
It's still good.
Doesn't deserve to go above
I
a
thought I
partnership.
changed to partnership.
No, a partnership is after the same game.
You
which
know what?
is
I'm
after
just
the-
realizing it doesn't even matter because I already sent off the audio to the editor of where everything was.
Oh. Fuck no. Partnership should be above Shiny Teeth. It should be above Fairy Idol. That's the one where Wanda has to win Cosmo back on a fairy dating game because Cosmo's mom, or he forgot their anniversary.
She forgot his anniversary.
He thought she forgot. No, okay. It was the false anger anniversary, and he thought it was the styrofoam anniversary. That's okay.
Yeah.
I love that episode so much.
When I looked at that, I was like, how'd that get all the way down there? Just one of those ones that slipped through. But
Now you get to pick the fairy bachelorette.
but that's another one where I'm like, I like it for a lot of select moments. But then I think about like the episode where they go inside the video game, and I'm like, that was fun for me as a kid. You know, seeing that.
I liked it, but it was played a lot.
Yeah. I like the Seam game where Timmy learns that like people are gonna be dicks no matter what.
The little gray blob.
Yeah, it's Gilbert Gottfried doing a really funny voice.
I like, you know what I really like about that episode is that Timmy's mom is the one that like defends
Yeah,
him.
it's like
Timmy's
the only
mom
time
cares.
ever. Yeah.
She like beats the shit out. She literally pelts them with dodgeballs over and over again. Like she smashes their teeth in. That's what she
Yeah,
does.
she does.
That's right. She smashes their teeth in.
Yeah.
Dude, and Timmy's parents in the beginning of the series were so fucking goated.
They were fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, they neglected him, sure, but they were, like, fun, and they actually loved each other.
Yeah,
It's
and they
not
were
this-
like, they were oblivious, but it was never like they're dumb. It was always just like, oh, they're too caught up in their own lives.
Yes.
That was the whole thing, is that it was like everyone's so caught up in being an adult that like it's like, oh, Timmy has like a chance to have fun and be a kid. It's like the ultimate kid fantasy show, you know? It's like no one understands him. All the adults
Yeah.
like don't get him. Like
Timmy
none
is
of his
an
friends.
average kid that no one understands. This
Yeah.
is the beginning of the fucking intro.
And they
And
forgot
then
about that.
They forgot about it, but they also use that
They
as
also
a line
reference that a lot of
periodically.
time, yeah. I like the castle episode. That's the last
Where
one
they
I
go
wanna talk
inside
about.
the castle, the Hall of Infamy.
Yeah, as a kid, that was always like, holy shit, they're going inside the fucking
I
castle.
liked that episode a lot too. I also really liked that their kid caused World War One. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah.
They like openly say that she murdered Ferdinand.
The show was
Francis.
always really like kind of cynical and edgy early on. It always felt like it was being written from like the adults writing it were never dumbing down their humor for kids.
Yeah.
You know, it was like they would reference modern culture and they would like reference celebrities and shit like that.
Pop diva Britney.
And they would like take the magic world and have such like a Hollywood like cynical view of it, like the April Fool who's just like Jerry Seinfeld, you know, and stuff
Yeah.
like that, or the Easter Bunny's like a little mobster guy, or it was nothing was ever presented as like, or the magical world was never presented as this like amazing thing where like fairy worlds can be bought out by like a hostile takeover of the company from Pixies, like buying them out, you know, like stuff like that, where it's they take like kind of a cynical view of it, where it's like a job for them, you know, they have a rule book of like we can do this.
Because they have to go to Fairy Academy.
That's
They
what I'm
have to,
saying.
like,
Yeah, they have to like
It's
yeah.
not all fucking like sunshine and rainbows, which is why that episode where like Timmy switches with Wanda, they would like switch places or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a good like.
That's a
touch
good
on
one,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always liked that, but then by the end it's like, oh, babies and fun and sharing all the time.
Yeah, it really does like.
Whenever they introduce Poof and they start using him more, it becomes, and then they make Foop and they really like pairing them together. It's like, this is just me watching babies running
Even
around.
subtly before then, when there was more episodes with the parents and how the parents were slowly starting to be more involved. Like the episode where like they get their planet bought out, or like Darth Laser is gonna like destroy their whole entire planet.
Yeah.
And like they're like sitting like sunbathing or whatever. It's like, why are the parents aren't going to work? They're not doing anything. They're just always home.
They're just always chilling. Yeah.
And they're always like, there's always a gag. There's always some sort of joke with the dad.
But that's the thing where they just stop caring about the rules, where it's like early on it's like, oh, his parents are out all the time, so they always get Vicky. But then later on it's just like the parents are always bumming around the house, so they don't need Vicky, so she's just never there.
There's also a thing where it's like it's established that they're well off in the beginning of the series, but then it's also established that they're broke ass poor in the middle of the series, and then they're rich at the end.
In season 10, it's like, oh, Chloe made us rich, and then in every other episode they bring that up, like, oh, we're doing this now because we're rich, and it's like it's being written for babies, and it's being written with no regard for the rules, but they still try to have like continuity. And it's the same thing again, where it's like the dog, and the dad's always like, well, you can talk now. Just repeating that again and again because it's easy, you know?
Yeah.
It's easy if the Turners are rich, so they can just do like rich stuff with them.
Which is dumb because it's like, no, you have fairies. You could do anything you would want to anyways. Why do you need to establish that you're rich to be able to do things?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's just,
they don't care.
It's just a La La Land world. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, when it was always like Timmy's magic was used to contrast. It's
The
fucking
normal
called.
world.
It's fucking called Dimsdale, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's like boring. It's all gray and like bland. But then they try to make everyone the wacky character.
Yeah.
Everyone has to have their moment where they say
Their
some
quip.
dumb line. Yeah, some quip. In conclusion, that's why the Fairly OddParents is bad now, and I'm glad it got canceled.
Fairly OddParents is like one of my favorite television series of all time.
What do you expect for the CGI reboot?
Not much. I don't expect much. I'm imagining it's going to be on par with the last reboot as far as writing.
I maybe don't think it'll be that bad. I think it'll be a show where it's the same thing as the Fairly OddParents, except Timmy is gone and it's only Chloe. You know?
Yeah.
It's only like the nice, happy, positive girl who loves the world and wants world peace.
I would hope that it was a girl who was like kind of like a cynical
like a bitch
kid. Yeah. Like Timmy was like a dickhead.
Every
know?
protagonist now in like Disney cartoons, you know, it's like
Goody Two Shoes.
you look at like Owl
Mary
House
Sue.
and Owl House and Amphibia and
Hilda.
Ghost of Molly McGee, Hilda's Netflix. What's the other one?
Oh, I was just listing up.
Oh yeah. But it's all like, oh, it's the happy, quirky girl, you know. And that's nothing about the quality of those shows, you know. It's just like that's what it is. But sometimes it's nice for.
Loud.
Yeah, that's Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just adding.
Yeah. It's all like, yeah, it's
Sorry.
all your linking lad.
Sorry.
It's all like the happy, quirky girl, and it's like every time it's nice for a bit of variety.
Throwing a boy here and there.
Well, that's the thing, is that there are boy cartoons like Big Nate, you know, or
Big
Linking.
Nate and Linking Loud.
That's
How
it.
fucking awesome
But
is
it's like,
that?
yeah, there's not really anything on Disney or Cartoon Network.
No.
Cartoon Network has nothing right now. But it is that thing of like, if there was a show out there with like a bitchy, bratty like girl, like a version of the Fairly OddParents, they'd be like, oh, you know, that makes sense. Yeah. But if it's just like, oh, this girl is a little awkward,
But
and
how
that's why
much-
she gets fairies.
How much you want to bet it's going to be a thing where it's like, oh, this girl is living in a traumatic environment?
No, it's not. It's
You don't
definitely
think so?
not.
You don't think? You think it'd be more fun?
It's gonna be like, they're gonna do the generic like, I'm moving to a new school and I'm a bit anxious. I don't know how to talk to people.
Social
but
anxiety
I'm
awareness.
so quirky. Yeah, it's gonna be like that.
She's gonna have a little ukulele.
I'm calling it now. Yeah.
Yeah, you're calling it now.
Yeah.
You don't think it'll have like a serious undertone where it's like, wow, they did an episode where they talked about her family trauma, and that's why she needs Cosmo and Wanda.
Maybe sometimes, but
Maybe someday.
they will take it like super seriously. You know, when they do.
Yeah. I
There
know
will be
you
no
mean.
levity. But either way, I am interested.
I guess you'll have to see on the LSMark channel
When
what
it
you
comes
think.
out.
Yeah. when it
Whether or
comes
not I
out.
have like a raised eyebrow or not in the thumbnail.
Why are you asking me this?
Why are you asking me this? Friday Night Funkin' or BLM?
So, Mark, Friday Night Funkin' or Fairly OddParents?
Why are you asking me this? I refuse to answer the question. Well, guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't checked it out, check out the Fairly OddParents thing.
Yeah, but you should watch Mark's video right here.
That's what I just said, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you meant the show Fairly OddParents.
No.
I
Watch
was
my
like, why-
video recapping the Fairly
Like,
OddParents.
why were you plugging Fairly OddParents? Watch,
Yeah.
watch your video.
Yeah.
Watch his video right now.
And someone please ship us the Funko Pops.
Oh my God, please.
And then that's it.
But also, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. And always remember,
Baba Booey. Put a little jigsaw in the corner, and then have a little Looney Tunes. Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. I know.